Bette Midler, Macy Gray criticized for anti-trans comments on the wrong side of history with this one. Midler is taken to task for a tweet she wrote. And let's get into it. Both Bette Midler and Macy Gray came out fire, and we watched that video on whenever Bentley was on. But both Bette Midler and Macy Gray came under fire on Monday, July 4th, for comments that some have deemed anti-trans. Midler, 76, who has supported and courted a large LGBTQ fan base for decades, appeared to be responding to the Supreme Court's recent decision overturning abortion rights. But her Independence Day tweet angered a number of commenters who took her to task for language that they felt was demeaning and exclusionary. I'm going to hide in the shadows as good as I can tomorrow. Yes, Morby, stay in the shade, my friend. Stay in the shade. Women of the world, we are being stripped of our rights and over our bodies, our lives, and even our name, Midler tweeted. A week after the conservative majority Supreme Court overturned nearly half-century-old Roe v. Wade decision guaranteed access to abortion. They don't call us women anymore. They call us birthing people or menstruators, and even people with vaginas. Don't let them erase you. Every human on earth owes you. And, there's truth to that. There's truth to that. She is a birthing person. She is a menstruator. She's a bleeder. And and we do owe our existence to biological women. We exist on earth because of biological women. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. Calm down. Calm the fuck down. Well, what she's saying is not wrong, right? But it was just taken as exclusionary, right? And so, and I could see that. I could see that she's leaving that down. I personally think that's kind of fucked up to call someone a bleeder. But again, I'm all about trans rights. But I really don't have too much of an opinion on this whole situation. Like, again, I feel like this conversation should happen between biological women and trans women. I feel like they should have this conversation. I don't think that people should shut down this conversation. My opinion doesn't matter. I'm just a dude. I'm just a cis dude. Bleeders and breeders, which are kind of derogatory. Breeders is a derogatory term used by the LGBTQ community to indicate, and call people, breeders straight. So it is kind of a derogatory thing to call someone a breeder and bleeder. I don't know. But okay, so author and professor of best-selling author Roxane Gay was one of many commenters taking Midler to task for what she said was the singer's use of non-inclusive language. No one is trying to erase women with inclusive language about people who need abortion care, wrote Gay. No one was calling you anything but what you prefer. You should extend that courtesy in return. And I feel that's true too. It's like if someone wants to be called a woman and they feel they're a woman and that's their thing, totally cool. Why not? Why are we calling them women? That's totally fine. But I can also see why biological women could take offense to just being reduced to a body part or being reduced to a bodily function. I can see that. Again, my opinion, who cares, right? I'm just a cisgendered dude. And the time range of both these women's being raised or becoming elderly, this was the standard norm of speech. They're only preaching what they've been taught. As a professional singer coming up in the 80s and 90s, they are media trained. So if they're trying to say this being media trained and getting canceled, it's kind of weird. I don't think she was being transphobic. I think she was saying calling a woman bleeders is dehumanizing us and making it easier to take rights away. And Morgana agrees. Yeah. So that's great. I'm glad that we got some ladies' opinions here because, again, I can see how being reduced to a body function is kind of fucked up. But, it's not my world to speak on. But I can see it. And I'm also about inclusionary speech, right? Like, I want everyone to feel included. So it's kind of a weird spot. It's kind of a weird spot where we have ladies being reduced to just what their bodily functions are. That's strange. But it's also, trans women have eaten a lot of shit over the years. And, I don't know if what Bette Midler is saying is harmful. I don't know if a gang of trans women are going to take their own lives because of what Bette Midler said, because that's sort of what the common thing is. It's like, your language is harmful. Her language is harmful, and I'm not sure if that qualifies as harmful. Not to say that trans women hasn't eaten a lot of shit. Again, they've eaten a lot of shit over the years, and so we do have to respect the fact that they have eaten lots of shit because it's not easy to be someone that you're not, right? It's not easy to be someone who you don't feel. Let me rephrase it. It's not. I'm sure it's not easy to be someone that you feel you're not, right? Like, if you feel like you're a woman and you're a biological man, then I definitely can see how that can be really tearing you apart internally. So it seems to be fucked up. She's media trained, and she's also from a different era, and she's learning. I don't know. I don't think what she said was horribly transphobic. I don't think it was terrible. But again, I can see how some people were offended by it. So, but I don't think that we should cancel her for her stating these opinions. I don't think we should cancel women for not wanting to be referred to as a bleeder, a menstruator. That seems a little harsh as well. So, what are you guys saying? But I can also see where LGBTQ plus community would be offended by those statements. I think the sentiment was genuine, but the language used could have been better. Yeah, and it's a control of language. And here's where I get a little weird, because I don't like the idea of people trying to control what you say, because I am a firm believer of freedom of speech. And that's the end of the sentence. I'm a firm believer. As a podcaster, as an artist, I think that that we rely heavily on freedom of speech. I enjoy the fact that I can talk shit about our government. I can talk shit about almost anything I want within reason. And you know what? I feel like you can talk shit and you can say all you want, and just be prepared to suffer the repercussions of that. But I don't think that their voices should be silenced. No one's voice should be silenced because they're making an opinion. Their opinion is out there. But you might eat a lot of shit from saying what you said. Let me see. Midler is often one of the first most vocal voices on social media in the wake of major political and social movements and events with her pointed takes, which some commenters said she got wrong this time. Really disappointed in this as a trans man and a Bette Midler fan, wrote one. Bette including trans men in the conversation about reproductive health does not harm women. We have the same organs and even greater vulnerability as cis women. A number of replies noted that not all people who menstruate are women and that trans men need reproductive health care as well. And of course, who can forget about the trans men who can have babies? So there you go. Not all women are birthing people, and not all birthing people are women. On the wrong side of history with this one. Hashtag trans women are women. Trans men are men. Trans rights are human rights. Added another. According to Los Angeles Times, abortion rights advocates and organizers included Planned Parenthood and the ACLU have begun using more inclusive language to discuss reproductive health care in an effort to recognize that trans and non-binary people also seek such care. Some of those opposing the use of inclusive language argue that phrases such as pregnant people, excluded women, because the word woman is not used, or that it reduces people to their biology, with some insinuating that erasure is just as egregious as denying people their reproductive rights, the paper reported. And yeah. Yeah. At press time, it did not appear that Midler had responded to the backlash, and the spokesperson for the singer did not respond to Billboard's request for comment. Meanwhile, Macy Gray, which, let's jump on over to Macy. Let's jump on over. So let's stay on Bette Midler for a second, then we'll jump over to Macy Gray. Yes, freedom of speech for all and not for some. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, say whatever you want, but just make sure you know what you say, if you are in the public eye, could have a backlash depending on how it is read, not how it is meant when you wrote it. Yeah, you got to sort of take that into consideration. But again, if she wanted to say something, completely egregious, she should be able to say that. Now, what are the repercussions? I don't know. What should they be? I don't know if she was violating some sort of guidelines on a site, on like Twitter or something. Twitter allows a lot of fucked up shit on their website. A lot. It kind of goes back to that idea that Donald Trump was canceled. And again, not a Trump supporter. Don't like the guy. I hope he just goes away. But when he got kicked off of Twitter, that same day that he got kicked off of Twitter, the Chinese government was issuing propaganda about how the Uyghur Muslim slaves loved to be, not castrated, but they loved to be sterilized. They were putting out propaganda. We had terrorist organizations posting on Twitter about their terrorist to-dos and what they've been doing. So it is kind of fucked up what they pick and choose, and you are sort of silencing people when you have when you take their words offline. Again, those words are going to live on, no matter what. And that's what the beautiful thing about the internet is that even though those words are taken off of that platform, those words are going to live on forever. So, it's kind of hard to be silenced completely on the internet, but you can definitely get your shit cut. Just an example to make a point. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So let's go on. So Bette Midler did have a retort, and of course we're going to BuzzFeed for this. Our fair and balanced BuzzFeed, just completely fair, completely balanced. The Fox News, if you will, of written media. Bette Midler clarified her anti-trans tweet. I love that in the fucking article it says Bette Midler clarified her anti-trans tweet. Just by this statement right here, it's just like, that's what she did. She said anti-trans shit. Hey, what's up, Manifesto? Welcome in. We're just, talking about like fucking crazy shit. Welcome in. Good to see you. Bette Midler is clarifying that she meant in her anti-trans tweet, but TBH, it didn't really help anything. And of course, this is not news. This is opinions. This is not real news. This is opinions. Okay, news is not laden with opinions. It should just be facts, right? Real news should be just, here's the facts, you make your own decision. But that's not the world we live in. Earlier this week, the Hocus Pocus actor shared her thoughts about women's rights, heavily implying that trans-inclusive language would lead to the erasure of women. Yeah. In the tweet, Bette wrote that women are being erased and stripped of their name when they are referred to as birthing people, menstruators, or people with vaginas. And here's the tweet again. And let's go look at let's look at the comments in this tweet, by the way. We should definitely look at the tweets. Now, don't fall for the anti-trans panic, fake nonsense. No one is erasing women. In a few small healthcare cases where appropriate, they are using trans-inclusive language. That's all. Bet, please rethink. You're better than being sucked into culture war bullshit that benefits no one but the cis white men who want everyone else to be under them. No one is erasing women. The reality is the reproductive justice also includes trans men and non-binary people. Now this is a July 4th message I can really rally around. This person, you know where she stands. Bet, this is disappointing to see from you. These are terms we use to include trans men and non-binary people who can get pregnant. It is absurd and dangerous to be lumping attempts at trans inclusivity in with right-wing attempts to control our bodies as threats. There you go. They're saying it right there. Louisa saying it right there. Damn right. Way past the time to pass the era. You go, girl, says Julie Bindle, whoever that is. Who's they that are changing these terms? I agree, trans-inclusive ideology is undoubtedly the greatest threat to women's rights faced today. Sometimes you're reading an article and there's a technically correct term you scoff at. Vosh. I love that Vosh got in there too. This isn't true. That's all it says. This isn't true. So we'll get into it a little bit in with Macy Gray, because Macy Gray brings up the whole idea of trans women in sports. And that one is a hard one, right? Because you are having these, you have some people who were biological men. And, I know this case gets brought up a lot, but that swimmer, what was her name? Leah Thomas, where she was like 434th in men's swimming and then went on hormone treatment and then became number 1 in women's. Now, again, I don't really care. If trans women want to fucking get in on it and just fucking wipe the floor with biological women, I don't care. But it is weird that you don't see a large number of trans men wiping the floor in men's categories. It is strange, I suppose, when you see mostly trans women fucking people up, fucking women up in the sports department. So that's a little strange. I talked to a few different people about, trans folks having their own league, and, that's not I don't think it's a bad idea, but again, that comes to the idea of separate but equal. I see those arguments like, oh, it's like separate but equal. And I don't know, again, I don't care. I don't care. Like, fucking go trans women, go fucking go break all the world records. I don't give a shit. I don't really care. It doesn't really matter to me. Go for it. I'll cheer you on. I will cheer you on. Ben also called for a ban of Viagra, so I think she's on the right side. She clearly upset about the abortion ruling. Yeah, and I think that's where it was at. And people picked up on this anti-trans sentiment when she was really talking about, women's reproductive rights. But I don't know if I'm coming off on the wrong, but baseball, when somebody does something wrong, we just put asterisks over. Maybe we must borrow a little bit from sports to give people a little bit of weirdness. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Let's see. Hold on. Brandon put something in. Bette Midler says it's time to ban Viagra because it's God's will. Actress Bette Midler spared no time suggesting a new policy to target men. Male reproductive Roe vs. Wade overturned. Time to ban Viagra, she tweeted Monday, because if pregnancy is God's will, then so is a limp dick. Which, yeah. So now she's Bette Midler. Midler was reacting to the Supreme Court landmark decision Dobbs v. Jackson, Women's Health Organization, which overturned the precedent set in Roe and returned abortion policies to the states. Which is weird, because that's what was supposed to be that's what the whole United States was kind of supposed to be. It was supposed to have the least amount of federal intervention as possible and leaving the states to sort of rule themselves. So looking at it from that perspective, that's sort of what the idea was from the beginning. But do I agree with the overturning Roe v. No, fuck no. Fuck no. Get the fuck out of here. Don't be fucking with people's bodies. I'm a firm believer in fucking letting people do what they will do. I'm also a firm believer of democracy. And if people fucking choose to vote what they want, then that's what they want. And, this is America, so you can move somewhere else. But I know that's not an option for everybody. Here in Ohio, we have 6 weeks abortion ban. So it is kind of fucked up here. And there was that story that turned out to be true, that there was a 10-year-old who ended up getting raped and by an illegal immigrant, which people made a big deal about. She had to go to Indiana for an abortion. Now I think Indiana is about to get ready to ban abortions as well. So it is gross and it is awful. But we are a democracy, I hope, still. And we need to get out there and vote for what we want. And we need to make our voices heard. That's what's so great about America, is that we do have the power to sort of change things around if we fucking apply ourselves. So if you are in a state that does not allow abortions, then you need to start getting involved in how to overturn that. Because we can. We can do that. By the way, the cosplay contest show was great to watch. I kind of visited the show by accident by following some interesting persons, females, not to be confused with the drag queen contest. Put it on your crown. Yes. Yo, I'm all about drag queens. I'm all about that shit. That shit is tight. I'm with Having Trans League due to the fact that women train all year around just to get whooped by someone that as a muscle for a physique of a man. There is men's sports and women's sports. That's why there can be a transgender sports. But separate but equal. Same-o. Separate but equal. That's what they say, right? That's what they say. They don't like that. They don't like that at all, because now you're putting a division between trans women and trans men, between men and biological women. So now you're creating a division there. And that's not cool. Same-o. It's better to just have trans women go into the UFC and fuck up women and just beat the shit out of them and take the belt. It's less messy, right? It's less messy. But who am I? I honestly don't give a fuck. I am cheering for trans women when they're beating the shit out of regular ass biological women. It's like, never mind. I'm not going to say that. Or maybe height, weight requirements like boxing show. That's what I was thinking. And when I had Alana Maddie on, we kind of went into this. Like, maybe it should be a little bit more fair on weigh-ins, making sure that body types aren't way over. When you look at Leah Thomas, like, let's look at pictures of Leah Thomas real quick. Leah Thomas winning picks. Like, when you look at her standing next to her teammates and her opponents, you really do see a huge difference, right? I mean, look at this. And again, go Leah Thomas. Hooray. But those shoulders are huge. I mean, she has been, and also swimming, what is it? The Swimming Federation or whatever has banned trans women who hasn't started their hormone treatment before puberty. And I feel like, and the Rugby Federation has done the same. So they're starting to recognize that there is sort of an imbalance in the situation. So, is that right? Is that wrong? Should they just let people who 18 months ago started hormone treatment, who was 430 something in the men's category, and then come in and now they're number one in the women's? I mean, should they be considering that? It's interesting that Caitlyn Jenner is against trans women in women's sports. And Caitlyn Jenner is an athlete. I won't say her name because that'd be dead naming and no one wants that. But Caitlyn Jenner was an Olympic champion. And she's against it, but Caitlyn Jenner's a little wonky anyways. But I think you're right, Raina. That's kind of what me and Alana Maddie were saying. Is like, well, let's make it a little more fair. Let's make it so it's like people are in the same weight category, in the same, we're not having, Leah Thomas, who was it? I want to see Leah Thomas. I mean, because Leah Thomas has a huge wang too. In any case, this is a tough call. And again, I'm not trying to be awful, like I get it that I get that there's a struggle happening. And no one should feel less than.
There was this amazing
Shut up. Just trying to see some bulge. Is that wrong? Should I not be seeing bulge? Caitlyn Jenner, also a D-bag. Yeah. Well, it's interesting, though, right? Like, it's interesting who we pick and choose to listen to. And Caitlyn Jenner is a trans woman who was an athlete. So it's just interesting who we pick and choose, who gets to say what, who gets to make the rules here. Who's making the rules? But yeah, I feel like trans women should be involved in sports, but I think it's a good point where maybe there can be, just make it a little bit more fair in the sense that they're in the same weight class, they're in the same, there has to be some sort of regulations to it. I feel like that would make it a little bit more fair because, Leah Thomas did sort of fuck shit up, make shit crazy, like she was so fast. And it was interesting how the crowd reacted. Like the crowd reacted when Leah Thomas finished first, there was cheers, but as soon as this person who came in second finished, that's when the audience blew up. It was like, yeah. So, people are seeing this and, I know we're in this transitory stage in our existence as human beings, and we all have to sort of figure out what works for everybody. And, again, I don't want transgender people to feel like they don't have a place to stand. But again, we have to figure out how we can all sort of make this something where we can all get on. Yeah, well, I'm all about the bulge. Oh, right here. So here's where it says, biologically, Leah holds an unfair advantage over the competition in the women's category as evidenced by her rankings that have bounced from 146 as a male to number 1 as a female, they added. And so, again, the Swimming Federation, whatever it's called, the U.S. Swimming, now they're saying that they are, you have to go through hormone therapy before puberty if you want to compete as a woman. There's this really hot oh my God, there's this hot, she's so cute. And I'll show you. And we'll come back to Bette and we'll come back to Macy. But oh my God, I'm not going to be able to see her. I'm sure, I can't remember her name. Damn it. But she is pretty hot. And she had hormone therapy before she went through puberty. She's a fat ass. She released this video like when you're at the beach and people won't stop staring at your dick. And then she's like, fuck them. So I don't think she's had the full transition, but she's pretty hot. Oh my God, I'm not going to be able to find her. Damn it. Trans model. Damn it. Of course. I just want fairness for all women's sport. Well, yeah. And again, we're not seeing trans men fucking up and wiping the floor with a bunch of, biological dudes. So there is an unbalance there or imbalance there. You can clearly see an imbalance there. But again, I'm just a cisgendered asshole. Let's get back to Bet because of course, we're back to BuzzFeed, who is balanced and fair. Obviously, a lot of people didn't appreciate Bet's tweet, which racked up thousands of responses, alerting her to the very anti-trans nature of her comments. Following the backlash, Bet finally offered some clarification. What is it?
Smell fresh?
It does. It feels a little moist.
They're not done yet, but you could tell.
We got a new washer and dryer, y'all.
It only costs us $112
$112?
for all the parts.
Oh my God.
And 5 hours of elbow grease and hard work.
Raina killed it. Following the backlash, Bet finally offered some clarification in her tweet, but it kind of completely missed the point. Bet explained that her comment was not transphobic, was instead based on a fascinating, well-written piece from the New York Times, an article that happens to be widely regarded as anti-trans. And the New York Times is a very liberal-leaning rag. No more abortions when there are equal rights for protection for men. When we can properly come up with men's birth control, then we can talk about getting rid of abortion. Equal Rights and Responsibilities Act. Same old Kanye presidency. Let's go. I'm here for it. In sports like swimming, height really does make a difference. Okay, who has put the dryer on top? Listen, moving Dutchman, I just want you to know that I carried that fucking dryer in here and then we hooked it up. And Raina thought that I was getting electrocuted because she plugged the plug into the wall while the exposed wires were just out dangling and they were connected to each other. It left a big burn mark in our foot. Raina, send me that picture so we can show your failure today. So like every time I would plug it in, I would go, ah! And she would freak out like, no. I did it a few times. It was really funny. Really funny. No, none of the I'm running around strip metals and I'm taking people's Cadillac converters. Oh my God. Yeah, not a failure, learning experience. Well, I'm just glad that you're not dead. That's all. So I kind of want to read this article, but I don't know. So people of the world, my tweet was about women, was a response to a fascinating piece, well-written piece in the New York Times. On July 3rd, there was no intention of any exclusionary transphobic in what I said. It wasn't about that. So here's the New York Times article. The far right, oh, get out of here. I do not want anything to do with that. I wish that thing worked, but it doesn't. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. In any case, oh shit. No. Oh, here it is. So in any case, this article, of course, is. I texted it to you. Thank you. Raina sent it anyways. We'll take a pause for the cause, y'all. All right, I'm going to send this out so we can all look at it. Okay. Let's send it straight from here then. All right. We'll look at that in a second. It fit. I wanted to make sure they brought the right dryer plugs, so I plugged it in, which is not cool. Yo, it was doing some old school bomb technician stuff on the gram. Oh, did she put this on the gram? Anyways, the recent New York Times op-ed, the far right and far left agree on one thing: women don't count. Was criticized for equating the far right's war on reproductive rights to the left's effectively misogynist agenda of advocating for gender-neutral language that would be more inclusive for trans people. Despite Bet clearly not hearing about the backlash surrounding the article, she insisted that her comments were not anti-trans. There was no intention of anything exclusionary transphobic said. It wasn't about that. We read that. She continued, it was about the same old shit all women have been putting up with since the cavemen. Even then, men got top billing. Bet then encouraged anyone who thinks that she has anything but love for any marginalized people to visit her Wikipedia page, which is like a weird response. Like your Wikipedia page. What are you talking about? Your Wikipedia. Anybody can put anything in that shit, lady. I fought for marginalized people for as long as I can remember. Still, if you want to dismiss my 60 years of proven love and concern over a tweet that accidentally angered the very people I have always supported and adored, so be it. And so I don't think she should apologize. I think you should own what you say. And I mean, if you say something really stupid and you like go back and change your mind and think, yeah, but if she really means what she said, then don't apologize. And that's freedom, baby. But I successfully switched a 3-prong to a 4-prong and hooked everything up. She did, and she dried the towel. So there it is. Someone get Tom Hanks and make him remind people that they need a league of their own. Oh, no movie. Yo, I was whatever you do, don't touch the green one. Yeah, don't touch the live one and the green one, yo. We must unite because in the case you haven't been paying attention, divided we will definitely fall, Bet continued. And that's what I'm saying here. We have to learn how to figure this shit out. We have to find something that works. It can't just be all one way. It can't just be all the other way. It has to be something where we can all sort of agree on. And, you know, if that means that in women's sports that we, you know, switch some rules around, but it's still inclusionary, that we should do that. This is a transitionary time where we have to take into consideration that we're somewhat of a democracy in this country and, you know, in other countries as well. Not all countries are as accepting as we are. Let's not forget that in Saudi Arabia, women couldn't drive until a few years ago. Let's not forget that in different countries, in the Middle East, that you will get tossed off of a fucking building. Let's not forget that in Russia, if you're found to be gay, that you'll be arrested. So, hey, let's just remember the progress we have made. And, you know, we gotta expect that people are going to be resistant, and that's okay, because we can talk, we can learn from each other. And I think she hits it right on the head when it says, you know, divided we will definitely fall, because that will happen. If we're going to stay divided like this, it's gonna tear us apart. So we have to learn to come to some sort of agreement, and it can't just be all one way, and it can't just be all the other way. We have to figure something out. So, Bette Midler does not really apologize. That's not an apology at all. She's just sort of doubling down on what she said. And good on her. Good for her. Double down. Whether you think that was offensive or not, at least she's sticking to what she's saying. Now, Macy Gray, on the other hand, I think Macy Gray does an okay job. Now, we watched the video when Bentley was on, so we won't go back and watch that video. But we will talk. We will go into what Macy Gray is saying here. You know what? Actually, did I open up? Yeah. So we'll actually review this when I pop. I want to see the album of Bette Midler and Adele. Let's go. A combination of the two mega powers. Yeah, that would be dope. Actually, hold on. So before we get into Macy. So this is what Raina did today. Oh, it didn't go through. Why didn't it go through? Why? Why, oh, why? All right, we'll try it again, yo. Let's see if it happens this time. I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen? Bow. There it is. There it is. All right, so, again, Raina didn't know that you couldn't do this, but here it is. This blew a hole in the floor. Look, and you can see the outline of the wires. Now, on several occasions I've plugged something into the wall, held both ends when I was a kid, and it burnt my hands, and I should probably be dead. I've also done some wiring and housing before I wired a bathroom, it's definitely, you can definitely die from this shit. So there you go. So I'm glad she's not dead. And we have a washer and dryer now. Now we don't have to pay like $100 a month. Yeah, holy macaroni is right. We don't have to pay $100 a month for fucking for the pay for washers and dryer, because that shit takes so much money. It catches up with you. We really do pay like almost $100 a month. It's like $25 a week for us to do all of our own laundry. Yes, I will forever respect electricians as well. I just wish that, now you can't be doing that. All right, so let's review this quickly.
With you, and we're different. You know what I mean? And there might be things that I would be.
And let's take it off the playback speed, because
wouldn't want to say in front of you that I might say in front of my friends of color and vice versa. But like to hate someone or want to kill someone or hold somebody down.
By the way, in this interview, she's talking about changing the American flag. She doesn't think that it represents all of America. And she's talking about, racial things that she's still pissed off about. She's not just talking about, but unfortunately, just this part got picked up. So let's sort of get into this.
Minority, fortunately, in almost every country, particularly America and Britain. I don't think it's the best way to tackle it. What's the best way to get rid of it?
You have to let go of needing to be better than ups about slavery. Like we could have a conversation about how you feel about women, And there would be so many things that went into that,
I mean, we're in an era now, Macy, where you can't, most public figures are too terrified to even say what they think a woman is.
I know.
I mean, well, if I asked you what a woman is, what would you say?
Let's say a human being with boobs. You have to start there.
Yeah, I mean, the dictionary is quite straightforward. It just says a human, adult, female, right?
No, a lot of people, see, that's a little...
And, honestly, we can extend that to, like, anybody who feels like they're a woman. Fine, you're a woman. Cool. Let's go. Let's move on. If you feel like you're a woman, you're a woman.
It's confusing. The whole he, she, they, that's going to...
And I'm not sure why, really. It's a bit like this whole issue of transgenders in sport. It's like I support all trans rights to fairness and equality.
Me too.
But not where you have people born to obvious physical superior bodies.
Me too.
Transitioning and then thrashing the women at their sport.
I totally agree. And I will say this, and everybody's going to hate me, but as a woman, just because you go change your parts doesn't make you a woman.
Right.
Sorry.
You feel that?
I know that for a fact. Like, if you want me to call you a her, I will, because that's what you want. But that doesn't make you a woman just because I call you a her and just because you got a surgery.
Because people do feel that there's biological sex and then there's gender identity, that you can identify as whatever you like
you can call
in terms of a gender, right?
Yeah,
that's the freedom we live in.
Absolutely.
But actually...
So there you go. That's basically what she said that pissing everybody off. Okay? I don't agree. If you feel like you're a woman, you're a woman. That's fine. I don't give a shit. Just, let's move on. I don't care. Let's keep moving on here, folks. We'll get past it. We just got to find that equilibrium. That's all. Let's just get on to the equilibrium is where I'm coming from. So this is her retort. She goes on to that. And by the way, she has a new album coming out. And so here she's trying to talk about, and they'll review what she said and stuff.
Back with Grammy-winning singer Macy Gray. She came onto the music scene more than 2 decades ago, and now Macy's getting ready to drop her latest album. It is called The Reset. She is going to be performing one of the songs off that album.
This is what she thinks the American flag should look like. It should represent more than just white stars. So there you go. Anyways.
Album in just a few minutes, Macy.
Yeah.
It's good to see you. I've actually felt like I've seen a lot of you in the past few days recently.
Yeah.
You were on the Piers Morgan show, and there was a question about trans women. And this was what you said in part. As a woman, just because you go change your parts doesn't make you a woman. If you want me to call you a her, I will, because that's what you want, but that doesn't make you a woman. Just because I call you a her, just because you've got a surgery, you can call yourself whatever you want. There was a wave of backlash that came as a result. Just tell me where you are right now on that statement.
Let's go.
Well, I never, of course, meant to hurt anybody with with what I said.
Now, there is an argument to be made that maybe she didn't try, but she didn't give a fuck if she hurt someone's feelings. She just spoke like however she wanted to speak. So, to be fair, there's no evidence showing that she didn't want to hurt people's feelings. I wish I could live in a bubble and just listen to people's music and not know their political or religious beliefs. Well, that that would be nice too, but here I am. Here I am, everybody. But I feel like, okay, so artists are, if there is no art, there is no culture. If there's no culture, there is no society, okay? Art is a huge part of what informs what culture is. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I think it is kind of important to know where people stand on things, because these are the people who are influencing our society as a whole. Art is politics. Art is life. Art is politics. Art is religion. Art is a lot of that. It influences all of it. And so, yeah, the good, the bad, the ugly. Fucking Bill Cosby, son. Dave Chappelle, again, made a great point when he was saying that, all the good that Bill Cosby did for the black community the whole time he was giving people sleeping pills and taking advantage of them. But he did so much for the black community and raised the bar and took the idea that it allowed young black children to see that black people can be doctors and lawyers. And same with Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but that's a different situation. But we're talking about I don't even know why I went there, but we're talking about Bill Cosby specifically. All that time, as he was raising black people to a higher standard than what was being projected in the media at the time, he was also taking advantage of women en masse. So, we gotta see what's going on from all angles. And yeah, Bill Cosby should still probably be in prison, by the way. He's out of prison. Bill Cosby is out of prison. She was using the controversy technique like Ricky Martin advertising the album. So maybe have a switch that I can watch your show and listen to the news, then have a switch to turn off and enjoy the art. Make me fair. Morgan, and I thank you for your opinion. I appreciate you sharing it with me. That's just my opinion about art and what it does for society and our culture and stuff. But yeah, I can understand where you're coming from, Morgana. Like, I wish I didn't know that about that person. Like, I read Miles Davis's novel or a biography, or I think it was an autobiography. And he's such an asshole. It's like that sentiment. It's like, never meet your heroes. It's like, he was so shitty as a person, but he made incredible music that influenced millions around the world. That's driven art to so many new heights and driven influence culture to points that unspeakable points, and it's beautiful. It's unmeasurable what he's done for jazz, for music, for rock, for everything. But I get what you're saying. Separate the art from the art. Yeah, exactly. You kind of got to do that now with R. Kelly. Woo! It gets sticky, huh? But, let's listen to her apology. So she didn't mean to hurt anybody's feelings. And there's an argument to be said that she didn't give a fuck about people's feelings. But here we go.
But to hurt anybody with what I said, I'm actually a huge, I think it takes a lot of courage to be yourself, to go out in the world and be honest about who you are. And so I think anyone who is in the LGBT community is a hero and sets an example for all of us with that,
And I would actually like to step in here and say not everybody in the LGBTQT community is a hero, because some people are awful. Amber Heard is a part of the LGBTQ community. Did you guys know that Amber Heard is a part of that community? Do you know that she was involved with a woman who she fucking was punching? She is not a hero. She is not a hero. So I'm going to go ahead and disagree with that.
I said some things that didn't go over well, but my intention was never to hurt anybody. I feel bad that I did hurt some people.
She probably does feel bad about it.
It's it's just about education. It's about conversation and us getting to a point where we understand each other.
Boom.
And that only happens with, I've learned a lot through this. So I think that was one of the reasons it might have happened. Just it was a huge learning experience for me, and I just have a compassion for what I think you can, like I said in there,
She's
you can
stumbling.
call yourself you whoever you believe you are, and no one can dictate that for you or take that away from you. You know.
I think life is an education process. The more you sit with people, the more you talk to people, it changes your perspective. So has your perspective changed, do you feel?
I've learned so much, and I think, being a woman is a vibe, and it's something I'm very proud of. And it's very precious to me, and I think that if you, in your heart, feel that...
So, again, let's sort of review that. She didn't admit. She's like, has it changed your perspective? She didn't say yes. She said something else. And I think you're right, Raina. Her apology is performative. It does not feel genuine at all. She would have been better off just staying true to her feelings. Feels like she's biting her tongue. When she gets home, she's going to talk her same shit. And I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. And she probably should have just stood by what she said. But she has an album to sell, folks. Stella got her groove back. There's no different than Nina Simone getting her groove back. I am talking about the piano or her young lover that she had in her life. Hey, you leave Nina out of this. You leave Nina out of this, son. Again, she definitely did not agree with the person. Let's go back for a second and just sort of...
it was a huge learning experience. And it's bad that I did hurt some people, getting to a point, and through this, one of the reasons, just it was an experience for me, and compassion for I think you can, like I said in there, you can call yourself you whoever you believe you are.
Life is an education process. The more you sit with people, the more you talk to people, it changes your perspective. So has your perspective changed, do you feel?
I've learned so much, and I think, being a woman is a vibe.
No, it hasn't.
I'm very
Her perspective
proud of.
hasn't changed.
And it's very precious to me, and I think that if you, in your heart, feel that that's what you are, then that's what you are, regardless of what anybody says or thinks. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, but yeah, I've learned a lot. Absolutely.
I learned a lot. Not my perspective has changed. I've learned a lot. I've learned that you can't talk about shit. And so I do think that this conversation needs to happen. I think this conversation needs to continue, but I feel like women should be having this conversation. I feel like, trans women should be having this conversation. Trans men, I mean, men in general, I don't know. I don't know. Again, I'm just a cis asshole, right? Just a dirty cis breeder. Ugh, gross. I'm a penis-having person. The struggle that biological women have had for millennia is still real, right? That still shouldn't be discounted. And I do feel like that is being a little bit discounted when women are speaking how they feel about being a biological woman and getting berated, getting canceled, getting shit talked to them. The women's struggle is still something that's real. It doesn't take away from the fact that trans women are having the same struggle. Trans folks in general are having a terrible struggle on their own behalf. And I get that we're trying to normalize, but something that she said earlier in this statement, she was saying that, but these conversations need to happen. and these conversations should continue. We're trying to find an equilibrium here. We're trying to find a place where we can all stand and feel like, I don't feel like women should have to take a step backwards, in order for everyone to find equality here. I think that we should take a look at it. We should talk about what needs to change. How can we change? How can we be accommodating for everybody? Not just one or the other. We have to figure out what works for everybody, because, that long struggle of women and women's suffrage and sex slavery. I mean, the thing about it is that women are still bought and sold all over the world as sex slaves. Young boys too, boys as well. I'm sure trans people are involved in that as well. That's still a problem. That's still a problem, that young women are sold into this. Bon Bon! What's up, G? Good to see you, my friend. She makes us song offending more people to strengthen or triple down her point of view on her new album, Win-Win record label. That's true. Because, her fans are going to stick with her. People who agree with her are going to be like, oh, I'm going to go check out Macy Gray. Oh, we're just talking about the things, y'all. The things. Do you think having more genders on federal documents is important? This question is for English and chat. What good beauties? I think that's fine. I think that's totally fine. Like, I'm all about it. I don't have really a dog in the fight. Again, I'm rooting for Leah Thomas to go and smash those records. It just means that dudes are winning still. Boom! Another point for dudes and penises. I'm just joking, folks. Leah Thomas is a beautiful woman with a penis, okay? With a penis. Leah Thomas has a penis, but hey, whatever. Score one for penis having people. How about that? Score one for penis having people. That's not why. I truly do not care if trans women are involved with women's sports. I just don't care about sports. I just don't care. I know I probably shouldn't have said what I just said. I know that was probably stupid to say. But again, I don't care. It's fine. I'm all for it. I'm all for going forward. And if that means we have to change some things around, that's fine too. Let's figure out how we can make it all work for everybody. But, there is some weirdness when it goes into trans women in women's sports. I think we can all kind of agree on that. I don't think we all agree on that, but I think that enough people agree with that the Swimming Federation changed the rules to accept trans women who transitioned at puberty. So I think that there is a consensus there. I'm having more genders is perfectly fine, and I don't see anything wrong with it. People should be allowed to identify. Yeah, exactly. Who gives a fuck? I don't care. You want to be you're a cat today? Go fucking be a cat. I don't care. Do you think I give a shit? Do you think I care if some 13-year-old is meowing in class and people have to refer to that person as a cat now? I don't give a fuck. I think that's hilarious. If you want to be a dude today and then a woman tomorrow and then a non-binary the next, I don't give a shit. This is fucking America, goddammit. And you should fucking be who you want to be. I don't care. Go be your bad self. Live your best life. Don't matter to me. If there's more boxes on census forms, good. Great. Is that going to offend people? Probably. If it says trans female, check here. If it says trans male, check here. If it says male here, it's probably going to piss people off because now there's dividing lines. You want to keep it women and just dudes? I don't care. Let's just move forward. Let's just get past this shitty era because we need to talk about it and we need to find some kind of consensus that works. I know not everyone's going to always agree. And if you're forcing someone to agree with you, that's tyranny. So we have to figure out something that works. So let's just keep moving forward. Maybe we'll just have one gender soon or none at all. It'll never be a question. That would work. Bon, why is Canada having power issues? What the fuck's going on up there? What did Trudeau do now? What did he do now? Why are you guys having power issues? I heard the weekend had to cancel in Toronto because there was power issues. Let's see. I think, that's poor. What'd Samo say? Hey, welcome to chat. Okay. Okay, I don't know what's going on. Heck yeah, bro. You don't even know how well I can handle a situation and subject. The asterisk is a polite way to put it because you never know when somebody feels like they should be married when they were a man, but then gets married as a woman and their partner doesn't know. Well, now that's... But see, now it's considered transphobic if you reject that person. I've seen situations or read situations on Twitter where it's like, if you reject somebody because they're trans and you find out after you've been dating them and then leave them, you're transphobic. Now, do you think that's transphobic if you've been dating somebody? And again, there's some hot ass trans women on I follow some of them. Some of them are fucking hot. Okay, there's one that's real cute, and I don't think I'm gay or anything, but she's hot. I don't care. You're hot. You're hot. I'm a happily married man. I have no intention on going fucking some trans people, but she's hot. I'm looking at her ass. She's hot. She has boobies. She's hot. But if you were dating a beautiful woman and then found out there was a package packing, she's packing some heat, is that okay? And does that make you a transphobe if you reject it? I don't know. Do you think people will say we're all the same just like they... what is that? By the way, there is an extension on Google Chrome browser and Twitch chat that allows you to enter your gender identity to show in chat. Oh, I saw that. Skittle has that. Skittle Farts has that. Do you think people will say we're all the same just like they say I don't see race? We're all human. Honestly, I hate those statements. I can't believe that you said that. I have it labeled as she, her, but I have seen all kinds of pronouns since. I want to be labeled. I want to be ham gendered. Can I be ham? I tried putting ham in Instagram and they won't let me show it as gender ham. I wish it was that. I love to celebrate differences. It's how I relate to people by understanding their intersections. Yeah. If I got to say I'm African American, even though I'm Kenyan American, I believe that there should be a box for that too. It's not representing all types of different complexions, subculture of black. Well, let's do it all then. Let's do it all. First, I've heard of us not having power. We've got all the hydro, so it'll never stop. I see. My Ramesty, it's hard to find balance between what offends people and what actually information the government needs and why. Yeah, good example is, and I know it's not the government, but it's flight. On flights, you have to declare if you're a man or a woman, male or female. That's all you get. That will probably change. No, the king a salt of and toxicity couldn't perform. I did not hear about this. I do not know. Send money to Canada quick. I don't know what's going on with Tim Hortons, but we need the CEO on the phone. Yeah, Tim Horton. Get Tim Hortons on the phone right now. Yeah, Trudeau, fucking Castro, Julian Castro. Is that his name, Julian? You can't penalize someone for their sexual preferences. But you can on Twitter. Yeah, I see that. I think most of them are some combination of she, he, they, or any. In the Weibo community, because call men that dress up as women and cosplay traps. Justin, thank you. Justin Castro. Thank you, Bon. I appreciate that. I appreciate you letting me fucking disparage your prime minister because he's a boner and probably Castro's son. Okay. And guess what? Fuck Joe Biden. I said it. I voted for that fucking senile fuck. Okay, let's get back to this lovely conversation.
And I'm glad I did, because now I know.
Well, thank you for clearing that up, because I think people got confused, and people sometimes you realize that through it. Well,
now I know.
Well, thank you for clearing.
You are, regardless of what anybody says or thinks. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, but yeah, I've learned a lot, absolutely, and I'm glad I did, because now I know.
Well, thank you for clearing that up, because I think people got confused, and people sometimes.
She's like, I'm gonna let you off the hook here now.
Maybe you feel differently about things. This is all coming as you have new music out. It's called Reset. It's all about a reset in life.
Yes.
Tell me about this new record.
Well, my band that tours with me, Tamir, Alex, and Billy, they Josh is new, but we
Shit, she is flustered. That is, yo, I've been in those positions though, where you're sort of like backtrack. But again, I don't think that was much of an apology. I don't think that she. I think you're right, Raina. I think it comes off a little disingenuous. I'd be like, oof, don't say my name. Some of the men that do cosplay as women are really good looking as women. Not gonna lie. Yo, for real. I'm not. Beauty is beauty in my eyes. I don't care. If you're hot, you're not. If you're hot, you're not. I wish I could remember that girl's name.